What we're going to do is have a quick fire round of sort of reactions to what we've heard so far today, sort of key, again, takeaways, key point of learning. So I'm going to work through the orders they've been given to me. So I'm going to start with Douglas Gilmour, who's Managing Director of Mobius Networks Limited. Yeah.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Douglas Gilmour of Mobius Networks. I'm a technologist, so I enjoy solving puzzles. How do we get the network or the networks to do whatever it is that you want us to do? What I found very refreshing and powerful about this conference was the presence of people, where the technologies really had an impact. To see Bailey's story yesterday was astonishing. In the other markets that we tend to deal in, retail and public transport, I can't remember any representation from consumers about, say, the implementation of contactless payment. In public transport, you certainly would struggle to find a representation of the passengers. The industry view, I think, is the less passengers, the better. In terms of what I've learned, Ivan Evans, the Deputy Director of Healthcare and Technology and Innovation, made, I think, the key point for me, which is that it's about making it happen. It's implementation of innovation that's the hard thing. Remember, I was saying I'm a technologist. We supplied our first mobile Internet of Things products. And we're talking here about IoT freezers, IoT aircon units, IoT photocopiers and vending machines. Not in 2008, but in 1998. So it's taken nearly 20 years to develop a market for IoT. Implementation is hard, but I think it's the bit that TSA will have to address. Just as an aside, yesterday they were talking about several calls for government to develop a coherent strategy, regulation, funding. I would disagree. I think Brian O'Connor this morning hit it on the head with his So What presentation. Government isn't good at innovating. And nor, frankly, I think, do they want the liability. They're very risk-averse, is the phrase that Brian used several times this morning. So I think government should be defining the outcomes. And then it's down to bodies like the TSA to help its members to deliver those outcomes. And how can the TSA help? Phil Collett, who's from CSL, he talked about reliable communications and sharing what CSL have learned with their customers. And he's right on two counts. With the TSA, I think we can develop common standards that support this notion of sharing what works in mobile. These standards will allow nimble suppliers to innovate, knowing that they have a framework to work to. At the same time, open standards cut costs. They prevent the purchase of technology dead ends. They de-risk procurement. Phil's second point was the importance of good communications. Mobile smooths the path from analog to digital. Because of lower revenue or costs, depending on which side of the fence you're on, mobile devices offer more for less. And Mobius has proved that in public transport over the last 10 years. Good mobile supports the adoption of big data. And we saw that last night with the winner of the Driving Digital Challenge, Monitor Go, which is a great product, and you should go and see his stand. But you can only reap these rewards if you make the mobile part of your system as important, as reliable, as the rest of the system, or the rest of your product development. So if you're interested at all in making mobile work, do please come and see us at stand 18. And also, I would say, support the TSA when it comes to developing those standards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Douglas. I'm going to suggest that everyone else just stays in their seats and presents from their seats, if that's okay. And I'm going to ask Paul Flavin, the CEO at Motech Devices, to present next.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, and thank you to TSA and to everyone here to give us this opportunity. I suppose in Motech, we specialize in leveraging mobile technology to help promote independence to people who are both aging, but people who have certain conditions in their life. And our goal is to leverage technology, and specifically mobile technology, to allow people remain independent, remain well, remain integrated in their homes and in the community, and in a dignified manner. We also like to sort of flip that and allow what is just as important in these people's lives, their next of kin, that informal network of care, the carers, access what is going on every day, and lower the potential anxiety level of people who live with our users who sometimes live with conditions. I think one of the things which I've noticed today, and particularly over the last 2 days, but particularly over the 2 panel sessions this morning, was, there's often a discussion on standards and protocols, but actually if we park that, I think there's still a level of confusion about the value. Where does technology deliver value in the system? Where exactly does it deliver value? And I've heard very contrasting views from people this morning saying, well, it's actually at the user end. Are we concentrating too much on what the user can benefit from technology? Instinctively, we'd all think the user has to benefit, otherwise why would someone consume a service? But is it just about that, or is at the other end, is technology-enabled care about revolutionizing the healthcare system? I actually think it's about both, and I think what we have here is a dynamic that we see here. We are fortunate enough in our business that we have we're live in markets in Central America and Caribbean where there is actually a predominantly private market. People have to pay for services out of their own pockets, and that drives a different dynamic. There is no system to work alongside or around or in. So we observe what goes on when you deliver a service of value at the right price that can enhance someone's life with no barriers, and then we live in the reality of, we're an Irish company, but we obviously work across UK and Ireland, but what we have to do here to try and help not just the user, but the whole system. And I think it is this, I think and from hearing everything, particularly the last 3 panelists, it completely sort of validates to me what I've always thought was, there has to be a clear, defined, evidence-based benefit to a service user, to your ultimate customer. And I think Ray James said it very well. He said, I think, guys, you've got to start thinking about marketing directly to that end user, like who is your customer. And I agree with that, but that prevents a huge solution, that provides a huge solution and potentially provides a challenge. If we just do that, and as I say, we do see this live in other markets. What happens is you have a sort of an iceberg effect. People start enjoying better technology-enabled services, and they will, and hopefully they'll benefit all the things that'll bring to them. But it'll start a divide between what's happening here at the user level and what's happening here with the healthcare system. If done well, the benefit can be twofold. It can help the user live a better life, an independent life. The data provided by these services in the most, and I understand that sometimes the sensitivity of data gets people defensive, but the data on a highly aggregated, anonymized level can provide immediate insights. And when people talk about mobile and digital and what does that mean in the world of technology-enabled care, really to me all that means is a very immediate view into what's actually happening with that user. It shows you a reflection of what's happening in that user's life immediately. You don't have to wait a number of weeks, months, years for a report. You can see what's actually happening. That data at an anonymized level will give a very, very clear view of what's actually happening with the population of people that we are trying to care for.
I think you've heard a lot from me over the last couple of days, but I just would like to summarize what I've learned from this morning and what we haven't already presented. So we've talked a lot about partnerships, we've talked a lot about collaboration, we've talked about this for a long time. What we haven't talked about until Ray James this morning came on was about education. Now this conference is about how can we be entrepreneurs? What does that education of leaders, right through the end service user and professionals in the field look like? Now Ray posed to us that we need better education for commissioners. I believe we do. We need to get an intelligent digital commissioning function. TSA has worked with Lancashire City Council over the last 12 months, training social workers, OTs. I would welcome Ray and the opportunity to collaborate with ADAS to actually make that a reality of the whole of UK. So I will pick that up with them. One of the other key things is we've heard from our partners that come to the conference every year. So Madeline Starr is a real ambassador of TSA from Carers UK. ADAS, we always have the chair, the ADAS coming along to conference every year, and housing. These are 4 fundamental key things that we're not collaborating together. So we've got the think tank of the government together, which is brilliant. We never thought we'd be in that position. But let's start putting those health, housing, social care, and third sector together with TSA and start making techs a reality across the whole landscape. That would be my next step into 2016.
Thank you very much, Alyson. And if I can invite Owen to contribute.
Thank you. I was asked to step in and contribute to this, to really make a comment as to what we take away from the conference itself. And the thing I'd say is that apart from the annual opportunity for hundreds of professionals to sit and talk to other professionals, which we don't always get outside of this environment, that's a great thing, and we all share the common goal to develop the industry. The fact that we also every year meet up with old friends and go home with hangovers, well, we live with that. The purpose for the conference for me is that, yes, it's a really useful annual market update. But the thing that I've realized over the last couple of conferences is that we have developed, as providers in this industry, we've developed much more of a sense of pride in the worth of what we do. And we try not to lose sight of that. And I do feel these couple of days each year is the opportunity to remind ourselves of that. There have been thousands of very intelligent words spoken over the last couple of days, so there's no point trying to repeat any or all of what's been said. Yes, there's a need to broaden and widen the remit, and on the education front, the thing that I think we need to remind ourselves of is that we are service providers. And there's a very heavy emphasis on the technology angle of this conference every year. But the fact is that the technology is only the means of delivering what we're really about, which is the service product. Maybe we should just pay a little more attention to that side of our dealings each year. As far as intelligent commissioning is certainly needed, but I think as well as intelligent commissioning, we should be looking much more for joint commissioning. Really good service products are now beginning to emerge where the contracts have been commissioned by a partnership of NHS, CCG, and local authority. We ourselves are involved in that style of contract, and the opportunities that provides for genuine integration, I think we should not only recognize, but we should pick up and run with. And that's about all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Owen. And finally, can I invite Gail Crossman, who's Director of Quality and Curriculum at Learning Curve Group, to give her perspective on what we've heard today.
Okay. Thank you. This is the first time we, Learning Curve Group, have attended the conference, and one of the themes I've picked up really, which has been mentioned by my colleagues, is around partnerships. I mean, we're very excited moving forward to be working with Alyson and the TSA and looking at that sort of training and extending the training that's available for people in this arena, and also helping support members really to achieve the standards that they've set out to achieve. One of our strengths is that we, are experts in course design, face-to-face delivery, but also around e-learning. So we're really looking forward to developing some packages, some training packages, to support all of the objectives that's been talked about today. What we really feel is key in the success will be about providing a one-stop solution to people working in this area to help overcome barriers that they might be facing to access learning and training, and also in the use of their own technology in relation to developing their skills. Our background is we were graded outstanding by Ofsted in the health and social care aspects of what we deliver. So we see that as a real synergy, working together, as we look to develop the workforce.
Thank you very much indeed. So we've had a number of bits of feedback there. The importance, again, of how to focus on the how, the importance of the customer or user voice, the desire from this conference to really use it as a springboard to get those, not just conversations, but actions flowing with partners in housing, health and social care. I've written down to myself the need to evangelize about this, and also that the tech is the means. The end is either the service product or indeed the end user and their life and how they lead it, and the power of education to try and really change and move this agenda forward. So thank you very much to our industry panel. Can you show your appreciation to them?